Good afternoon, folks. This is Brother Allen with Bible Commentary. Today I want to make commentary on the rest of John 3:16, specifically that verse. Now, I have already given to you in part one the context of what Jesus was saying to Nicodemus. But just to restate that, for God so loved the world, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. So today I want to deal with believe, not perish, the word perish, and everlasting life. I hope not to make this too long. I don't know. I'll just have to play it by ear, as they say. But I want to discuss believe and the word perish and the word everlasting in the Greek. So the word perish, why was Jesus saying whosoever would believe in him would not perish? So what was he talking about? Well, we have to go back to Daniel, and we also have to go back to Matthew chapter 24, and also Luke chapter 21. But the word perish in the Greek means apolylumi, and apolylumi in the Greek means die. So Jesus saying, whosoever believeth in me shall not die, should not die. So is he talking about the afterlife or the then life of Nicodemus? Because he said those words to Nicodemus. So he was saying, whosoever believeth in me should not die. But the other word, which is everlasting, that you should have everlasting life, Jesus in this particular scripture was not talking about after biological death and forever life. He was talking about everlasting life. And in the Greek, everlasting life is aeonosos, or eon. Eonosos, or eon in the Greek, and that means age life. You can look that up in a good concordance. So Jesus was talking to Nicodemus about living the rest of his biological life upon the earth. And we have to understand that, because we have to go back and look at Matthew 24 and some other things that I'm talking about. And in order to do that, I'll read part of Matthew 24, and then I will read Luke. In Matthew 24, beginning with verse 1. And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, See you not all these things? Verily I say unto you, disciples, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Jesus, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming? And what shall be and the end of the world? Now, the word world here in the Greek, the proper translation is age. What shall be the end of the age? The Mosaic age. And Jesus answered, and he said unto his disciples, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and they shall deceive many. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. The end of what, we must ask? For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in different places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. And they shall deliver you, disciples, up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, disciples. And you, disciples, shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that endures unto the end of these tribulations shall be saved. His mortal body shall be saved. And the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. And then shall the end of the old covenant come. And when you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whosoever readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with suck and with child in those days. Pray ye that your flight be not in winter, neither on the Sabbath. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh saved, except those days should be shortened. Now that is why Jesus was talking to him about these particulars. Now I want to move over to the book of Luke, chapter 19, verses 43 and 44, and Luke 21, verses 20 through 23. And here's what it says, because Jesus was again warning those people about the coming catastrophe. In Luke 19, verses 43, here's what Jesus said. For the days shall come up on thee, that is Israel, and the city. Because Jesus in verse 41, and when he was come near, he beheld the city of Jerusalem and wept over it. And he said, for the day shall come upon thee, that thine enemy shall cast a trench about you, and compass thee round, and keep thee in on every side. And then shall lay thee even with the ground, and thy children with you. And they shall not leave in thee one stone upon another, because thou knewest not the time of thy visitation. And when we turn over to Luke chapter 21, beginning with verse 20, here's what Jesus was saying to them. And when you, that's his audience standing in front of him, and this was before the crucifixion of Christ, he said, and when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know the desolation thereof is nigh. That's the same desolation of Daniel. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries come in to the city. 4, verse 22. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things, get this folks, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. And in verse 24, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive unto all nations, and Jerusalem. This is a prophecy by Jesus. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, that's the Roman soldiers, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So Jesus is warning Nicodemus here, believe in me. Believe what I'm telling you, Nicodemus. And he also spoke to the masses. believe me, that when you see the abomination of desolation, when the armies of Rome surround Jerusalem, know that your desolation is near. So did that happen? Yes. We have secular history, especially by Flavius Josephus, if you care to look at this. These are the writings of Flavius Josephus. He was a first century Jewish historian and indispensable to the proper understanding of Jewish thought and background. Josephus records the Jewish Wars, Volume 1 and Volume 2, when Rome surrounded Jerusalem and began killing the Jews. Now, some books have it that Titus, the son of Vespasian, surrounded Jerusalem in AD 69 or thereabouts. And no one could get into Jerusalem, and no one could get out of Jerusalem. Just like Jesus said, if you're in the city, you can't get out, and if you're outside, do not go in. Because there was wars and rumors of wars, and there was famines upon famines. And Josephus, as well as Tacitus, a Roman historian, records, Josephus says that 1,100,000 Jews were slaughtered by the Roman army in that siege of Jerusalem and the temple. Other folks say there was only 600,000 because this was the time of Passover, and many of the outlying Jews had come into the city to observe Passover. When Titus surrounded Jerusalem, there was fighting on the inside of Jerusalem with the Zealots, and then there was fighting on the outside with the Roman armies. Here is a couple of examples. By the inhabitants of Caesarea, 20,000 were killed. Scythopolis, 13,000. Ptolemais, 2,000. Alexandria, 50,000. Cestius Gallus killed 8,400. And in Joppa, 15,000 were killed. There are records, folks. There are records of the Jewish wars that happened during those days, and this was the fulfillment of Jesus' prediction in Matthew 24 and Luke 21. There are records in Josephus that because no food could get into the city of Jerusalem, there was infighting among the surviving Jews, killing each other over food. There are records of those Jews killing and cooking their babies rather than starve to death. Folks, these are all in the history books. And most folks do not know about this. They have not read about this. And many of the old theologians of the 18th century, specifically Milton Terry, and some others, plainly say that this happened, especially James Stuart Russell, one of my favorite 18th century theologians. And this is exactly what Jesus was talking about when he was talking to Nicodemus. He says, Nicodemus, please believe on me, believe what I'm telling you, and when you see these armies surround Jerusalem, run to the mountains. Do not get your coat, do not get your coat, run, because desolation, as prophesied by the prophet Daniel specifically, has come up on the Jews. And the Roman army was going to destroy the Jews. And they were going to destroy Jerusalem. They took it to the ground. And they destroyed that second temple. And either killed Jews. So many Jews were killed that the blood ran up to the bridle of a horse. And there were so many bodies laying around that they had to put them in the dump outside of Jerusalem and burn the bodies. They couldn't bury them. There was too many. That dump, my friends, is called Gehenna in the New Testament. In the Greek, it's Gehenna. In the King James, they call it hell, but that is not a proper translation. It is Gehenna. And those bodies were thrown over in Gehenna to burn because there were so many bodies. And this is what Jesus was trying to tell them. And when Jesus was going to the cross, they were crying. And he says, don't weep for me. Weep for your children, because the time is coming that you will say, blessed is he that does not come out of the womb, because desolation is coming upon this people by the Roman army. And folks, it happened. And this is what Jesus is talking about in Matthew 24, in Mark 13, in Luke 21 and 22, in the book of Daniel, in the book of Revelation. This is what Jesus was trying to tell Nicodemus. He said, run lest you die in the conflagration and the wars. And if you will run, you will live out the rest of your life on earth. You will have eon life, age life. Not forever life after death, but you will finish out your life in this age and this generation. I hope you will take the time to do some research, folks. Most folks don't know about this. They don't know about the siege of Jerusalem and what happened to them. After the siege of Jerusalem, with 1,100,000 people killed, the Roman army took 97,000 of those people that were left, because the Christians had fled to the mountains. There was 97,000, it is reported, that they took and sold into slavery and dispersed them to the four corners of the earth, just like Jesus predicted. I hope this gives you a little more insight into John 3:16, and I would encourage you to read Josephus. I would encourage you to read Tacitus. These are historians who lived during that time and recorded what they saw. Until next time, this is your faithful Brother Allen. May God bless us all.